I have nothing but profound respect for this process now. I wrote an essay that seemed like a breakthrough. It was something like, I love myself and I trust my process or something. But sometimes it would hit me how much I had been entrusted with, especially when I was working with the teachers. And it was more like an innate kind of feeling of to be trusted so much, to come in with just little feet and little arms and a head, and sometimes they're deformed, and sometimes what's inside is really kind of not in alignment. And here we are. What? How could it be that I could be that trusted to make my own decisions and to decide what feels good, and then do that and take the consequences of, other people's stuff? What? That's pretty freaking awesome, I thought. It's like, wow, that's not such a bad trip, really. I mean, then it's all just creation, right? Then it's all just expression, because, holy crap, I can make it anything I want, right? And I was having those thoughts a really long time ago. When I was looking at Clover as a girl, it's like, wow, what? But not, of course, as language as articulately. Doy. I had to grow up. I had to get knocked around a little bit. Read any of my essays. So, whatever. So what happens is, 144, it's so cute. What happens is, well, I'm going to have to change my pronouns. This is really weird. I'm going to have to change my pronouns. So, here we go. I'm kind of floored about what just happened. So I guess that's where I have to begin. Okay, there it is. There are some times when I have to start the morning with crayon. I come in like with boing, with these things that are like, oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Like that anymore. I don't dream about Benjamin Franklin coming to my workplace. I used to, though. I had so many weird dreams. It was so much fun. I was like, why do I even have to go to the movies? I just need to take a nap. It's just whee! It was great fun. And it was therapy. I really did it. It was like, and for a while I had built-in terror. I could close my eyes and just like wet my pants. It was so scary in there. Long time. And then things began to clear, and I stopped dreaming. I just wake up with a word like Ashkenazi. Okay, all right. Let me jump right on that. Whatever. And so it was fun. It was like playing games, and Seth was a really big helper, because Seth is all about the dreaming. He's all about, hey, this other thing you do, well, it's really valid and it's pretty creative, and we suggest it's more real than what you're doing, in a way. Just in a way. That's just our opinion. Take it or leave it. But sometimes they go, the point of power is in the present, and it's like, come on, wake up already. So it was that I did describe to my dad, and just briefly, I just want to say this, because it's not like a warning, but this is what it did to me, okay? So I picked up Seth in 85, right after I graduated nursing school, and I was living with Dave Brandel and some girl, and he dedicated Raspberry Beret to me. I thought that was so cute. I love Dave. I wonder whatever happened to him. But so I was living in this little alcove with my cat Sammy, and I would read Seth, and I could only digest about 2 sentences, sometimes a paragraph, and then I would feel really, really overwhelmed and kind of physically ill, and I'd go to sleep. But it was like an obsession. I had to do it every night. Sometimes more, but it would make me sick, and so I would read it lightly in the daytime, maybe sometimes in the night. I would read it again at night, and then feel like shit and go to sleep. And then he would come, and he would show me stories to explain my discomfort, and that happened nightly for a really long time. And then I put him down, not fully conscious of what had happened, but knowing that it was a counselor. It was someone who I could go to for therapy. And all I had to do was open a book page. I had to just even be in distress about something. It didn't really matter. I could be thinking about my problem, just, not like, this is what I want to experience with Saturday. More like, Holy Mother of God, I can't believe this shit just happened. Boom. And then I feel so happy. I don't even understand how I could feel so happy. Boom. But whatever I needed, the agreement was I would always have it with him. And there certainly wasn't enough writing. I exhausted it, and then I found more. So I'm pretty happy, but it does not resonate. I mean, I know I'm going to go really far once I read The Magical Life. And I've been sort of holding it as dessert, I think, because it's highly activating, and I only read, very in a good way and not in a bad way. There was a period in about, I think it was early 12, that I read him for about 7 months, and it was intensive. I digested NOPR, Nature Personal Reality, and did both of the Psyche ones, and did the, it was just all of it. Unknown Reality 1 and 2. Seth Speaks. Had to read them all. And it was, I told my dad, it was as if this orange thing was being twisted out of my guts. It was just intense. It was like full belief structures. I was like, yeah, that'd be a really good thing to remove. Oh, and the stuff about Augustus 1 and 2 freaked me out the first time I read it. I didn't like it. It's not that I identified with it at all, but there was something about it that just rang in me so genuinely and so weirdly, really oddly and dissonantly. And it was just like, I think partly because he had riding with him somebody who was so mentally ill. And I thought, holy God, if my guidance is like that, then I am screwed. And I looked around me and I saw some of the madness, and I thought, I have to really be in doubt of my intuition. That really is what happened with Augustus 1 and 2. Because the teachers also addressed my inability to trust my own judgment. And they would say, well, you gotta know how to go, because there's a lot of people around you who are going to say what you should do, and you gotta figure out what you need to do. So here is a way to get your spidey senses back, or your intuition. And so they taught me about throwing my consciousness, time bending. They explained about DNA. They explained about, I'm not going to remember much of this. It's going to be really nice to have it on film. They explained about the Merkaba. They taught me how to spin and counterspin, and they showed me how high I could get, physically, orgasmically high, just by spinning. So drunks, God bless you. They told me that's why I had a taste for the whiskey. And it's true. It was like the best part, grabbing hold of a bedpost and going, whee! Oh, paradise. That spirit, to me, that's heaven. Whee! I can't modulate it anymore. And I had a final symbolic goodbye. And they said it was necessary. And now I got my 8s going on my legs. So they gotta come even higher. So what we would do is she'd be spinning. Whoa. You know how we said she would go to the nursing home, and it's so funny, but on Mondays everybody's so nice, and it was like so soft. Everybody was walking around in a pillow, and she said, yeah, it's in her head. Yeah, it's because they all had rest. No, dear, you were arrested. She was learning all about mastering the geometries and the energetics and the flow, but in a palpable way. She is an energetic master. Energetic. We would suggest that there are others who have specialties. The Cryon is a magnetic master, is he not? And this one can assure you. I can assure you, as God is my witness, and I have human witnesses. I have 4 years of testimony in the form of Deeply Awake. I have stated that one of the things I thought was really cool was this little tiny thing that I had. It was black, and in white writing it said Master of Reality. And me and Chris, we each got a copy and said, yep, there it is. And Chris, wherever you are, in Lakesh. Diane, wherever you are. I said special prayers, baby, in Lakesh. Everybody in Lakesh. So, sometimes we would start with the Quran very early. Sometimes we'd let it go all night. We had to get higher, 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 we had to get higher. There were deadlines, but not so much deadlines as such need. There's such need. So, she understands more about her identity, and we would like to talk about that. And we use caution. It's really not about playing games with you guys. And she doesn't like hearing this, but she knows it's true. The obscurity is for a good reason. For now. It didn't feel like obscurity 4 years ago. 4 years ago it felt like opportunity. Since that time, there have been essays of great profundity and beauty that have glittered in the blogosphere. Truly unread and uncelebrated. And this may seem like some sort of crass advertising, and it's not. Dear ones, it's not. It's not. It's not. Please hear us when we say this isn't us talking. This is someone older than time, dear ones. Can't you see the patterning? 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 It is so plain. What we told her as she was deciding if she was ready, before we activated with that little book in that movie, she got one hit of it and she knew she was home, and there was no there was no argument ever, dear, ever. Don't delude yourself, please. It's not the time for that. You're past that now. A part of her has stood apart and seen all of it and explained it to her. And that part began to speak off camera a little bit earlier. A healing took place for her that was necessary. I had already explained that this is about attachment to just in a brand new way, I guess. The Buddha talks about attachments, and he had a lot of it right, because attachments are belief structures, but they're also personality structures. As such, they generate expectation of self and others. They generate whole agreement fields, which then people participate in. And people do recognize each other by simple geometries. Part of this was today, an activation time, but celebration time as well. So, I don't recall exactly how we started it, but soon enough. She had watched the video, A Gift from Them to Me, which was to have been seen today, the 11th, the day of illumination, dear one. So, pretty much on schedule, she watched it. And then it seemed really funny, but she had to read Rupert Sheldrake. That was remember when we talked about the mechanism? There's a mechanism, and there's a shot, and then there's a outcome. Well, she got shot out of the gun, and she was in free fall. Summer of it's good. It's really good. Summer of whatever it was, 83. And she was in free fall until she landed in nursing school, okay? And to say goodbye, she did a collage of little tiny words describing what she was, but more, who she was. And then she was told this: you put that in your suitcase, and then you put it on your wall in nursing school, so you can remember your highest self, because you are now giving up the life of academia, which would have made a lot of this a lot easier, because there is a soothing in academia that's not available in the modern world. But that was beginning to close. As I was finishing my time at UNC, I saw that to step into science, I would have to relinquish certain things that I've held very true. And the only thing that really interested me was embryology, because I saw that as a pure science. I saw that as an untapped science. I saw that they were already beginning to misunderstand genetics, and they didn't have the math for it. So I figured, embryology, yeah, I could bend. For embryology, I could, because then I could see the face of God. But and Dick Bond said, don't do nursing. Don't do nursing. You gotta stick with biology. So I'm on a city bus, and I'm reading this book. And it is basically a dare to the scientific community, where he describes formative causation, another way of saying probability fields, another way of saying quantum, biologic probability fields. Ding, 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 Seth. Tick, 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 Kathy. So, of course, we picked up this book, which has our loved ones. Ha! Oh, that's so sweet. And my sister. And me. And I don't know who. 11, 16. No, 11. I don't know who that is. Isn't that funny? It says, ha! Something I don't want to repeat. So, today, this had to come out. Of course it did. Why not? You're just stalling. You don't want to go out there and get a job. And you're broke as shit. And you know this shitstorm's about to happen, so why not pull some Sheldrake? So, anyway. Page 115. It's important. I want to just backtrack with this. I need you to understand what this is. This is a quantum biologist. You get it? Who didn't get educated. So what? So the fuck what? So I tell you what I did. So I decided, okay, all right, holy crap. Holy crap. I know I can sit down at a typewriter and make it come. So I think I'll decide I'm a writer. Bing! Okay, so what does a writer do? Huh? They live. They experience. They get to know every extreme. And they have to know it so purely and so honestly and so authentically that then they can reproduce it, but then tinker with it. I'll be a writer, okay? So, I mean, that was pretty much the deal by the time I was about 13. When I posed against a tree and I was really very plump and not very attractive, and I was doing this. I named the book something humiliatingly self-important. In my opinion, it was probably very beautiful. And I felt like a total hack. So I put it away, and then I started to write again, and everyone goes, "Oh, my bed, that's so pretty. Let me give you $1,000." Things like that. So, oh, I know. Yeah, don't mind this. I'm a piece of shit. Don't mind this. So I didn't express it. I chose to be nursing, go to nursing, not academia. Okay, got it? And I also have this skill or interest. I guess it's more than interest. And so I figure, okay, I'll really, put the pedal to the metal with this writing thing by like doing the nursing thing. What better way of gaining passage to learning about humanity than this? This is awesome. So it was like every day for 30 years. Oh my God, I learned something new. Oh, this is so cool. So yeah, I bitch about it a lot because it's just gotten so retarded. But as the structures, and they're punitive. Some of them are actually quite twisted and perverted and dark, and it was too much for me to handle. I couldn't. It just was wow. We gotta heal this on a whole different level, guys. You're not even getting the point anymore. You're so warped. Whew, stinky. And I'm not having that smell anymore. So anyway, I have this collage, and the instructions were, you put pedal to the metal, do anything you want, blank check, just do it all. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. The thing you love the most is gone. It's gone. So what does any of it matter? Just enjoy it, try and love it, and then have a shit ton of arguments with it, and then get really depressed and have all these bad things happen, and oh my God. It's just ridiculous. It's beyond the beyond. It's nutty. And it's all blessed and super cool. So, the instructions were, you're going to live. And you can test the water every now and then and write if you want. That's fine. But the idea is to just get out there and do it. And do it all. And heal it all. And figure it out. And then you can write about it. Ta-da! Well, imagine how funny it is that in 12, this really weird green thing happens as I'm being tempted to write a piece of paper that says, yeah, I'm a piece of shit, but I'm really cool with you. I mean, sticking around, not getting any more raises, and then you can just blame this shit on me every now and then because I've already marked myself as inferior. And there's nothing I can do to redeem it, really, except learn and behave the way you want me to behave. Signed, Kathy Bick. And I saw that, and my heart, Norma had told me to breathe green in to my mouth, into my heart, and then suddenly I did that, and then suddenly I understood, oh, I do that. And then the blood takes it, and the blood goes boom, 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 and I get greener. And greener, and greener, and greener, and then pew, pew, behind me and in front of me, the hull went green. And I thought, okay, wow, I feel and I could breathe again, because I was, once again walking into the firing squad. I tended to do that a lot. I tended to piss people off a lot. I tended to not like them very much because I found them stupid and retarded most of the time and really not worth following, and I did my own thing, and usually they lied, and if they didn't, I got canned, and sometimes I was messy. Sometimes I wasn't even paying attention. Whew, gone. Now do you know why? Now don't you think it would be really kind of cool if you'd give me a break? Oh well. What's that line about entertaining angels? may be unaware of the angels in your midst. Because I can tell you some pretty angelic shit, actually. Anyway, that was the edict. That was the goal. And the goal was that she understood that she would have, I understood I would have respectable following. Pretty healthy. National. I saw TV. Always TV. I had a teacher tell me that too. Plays. Comedy. Movies. The, HBO thing with the weird family or whatever. Stuff like that. Allies who understood the work. But then this other thing started happening. Everything got sparkly. Now how do I blend that? Because I was not going to be a public author if I was naive. And I read a work that I wrote about ascension. And it was written right after the teachers, so in the 90s. And I abandoned it. It was too much of like a parable, and the trigger was weak, and it was sad, but it was weak. I thought, girlie, you have not lived yet. You have not suffered yet. You don't understand. You can't even write about pain. You don't know anything about betrayal. Come on. This is just, put it away. Put it away. So, okay, did I decide consciously to do this? I don't know. Am I just a savant of some kind and acted weird a lot of the time because I didn't know how to express myself? Well, yeah, probably. I walked around a lot thinking, how can't anybody see this? Why can't I just even open my mouth and no one even hears me? Yoo-hoo, where are you? Like that. It was like that, always. So I'd find as near a match as I can and just go, whoa. So I had friends who were very instrumental in listening to me. And I had not been listened to. I had not been indulged. Oh, and I was indulged. Whee! And it felt really good. I needed it. It was like medicine. It helped my bones to heal. And I was able to walk a lot straighter. And it was really good. It was really super great. And then I get here, I'm thinking, wow, well, I remember this thing I had. Okay, so anyway, here's the deal. I'm talking into the camera, and I'm explaining this spiritual attainment or whatever, because I'd watched this video of the gift thingy. And this is why I can talk to you like this. It explains everything. I was sitting here, and I had come to some profound realizations with my eyes open staring at this camera, telling myself the truth, just like I had done it. And I said, okay, now, listen, we need to have a talk, you and me, we. This is it. This is the time. You know how good it felt talking to Melissa and having somebody else say, oh yeah, well, cool. Well, here we go. And I explained it. I explained all of it. And it felt really good. Who's I? When I knew that when I started discovering the idea of reincarnation, and I discovered the idea of, that's refinement of consciousness, and maybe not refinement, then movement, and expression, and creativity, and sort of a blank check. So, okay, so what's that about? Why would that be? Anyway, long story short, I'm telling myself the truth, because I've had a series of visions that have explained about things that are very helpful when you're in the middle of mechanical awakening, okay? And I was going to reveal all of it. And they were very stair-step things. I revealed a lot. And if you think that I'm your master, you are absolutely incorrect, because I'm just an explorer and a reporter. You've got this big structure behind you saying, are you paying attention? Really? Wow. Huh. All right, how much do you want? Well, cool. No worries. It's not up to me. It's up to your consciousness, and I am living proof that I could scream from the rafters and not be heard if that particular consciousness is around. That's what I suffered from all these years, and it's over. It's over, guys. It's over. I struggled with permission for a long time, until yesterday, when Melissa and I puzzled through it and realized, yeah, it's about, we're humans, and we've done this, so we can own it. So there's only so much I can own. I began to talk about all of it, just all of it, and very suddenly, and this is why I can talk to you this way, very suddenly the weather alarm went on. We have big, huge horns, almost like in our backyard. They're not in the prairie field. I think they're across the street, but they're loud. So, and usually I sleep through them because I was working nights. It's like, oh, fuck it. If I get sucked up in a tornado, at least I'll be taking a nap while I'm doing it. Like Dorothy, I'm not getting up. There were only a few times I go, oh, I think I should look. I was like, whoa, get in the basement, baby. But that was always just like, that was training. That was training. It was all training. So funny. And a dad who loved tornadoes and was mesmerized by them. Watching a tree sway across the street when we lived in Bloomington. Training. So, for Tornado Lady, which is an essay I wrote called Tornado. It's a testament of how I hit such a fever pitch, golden lusciousness of love that I shielded an area from a tornado. And I say take it or leave it, but if you want to get blown away, you might want to take a look at it. So am I an energetic master? Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah. I have been, so I went to, okay, so we need to talk about this Lady Nada blah blah stuff. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, all right. So this is, and I felt fear. I thought, okay, well, I just saw the matchstick one where I'm goofing about my heart. And I'm going to come down and talk as her because I really like talking. She soothes me. And I thought, okay, well, this is about, I'm being warned to be careful. And I thought, yeah, there's enemies out there. There's people who actually might want to silence me. And then it morphed. I looked down and it was red. And then I realized, well, wait a minute. No, this means you've been heard. You've been heard by someone who understands. Now, are you finding comfort there? Are you feeling anything there? Are you feeling anything anywhere? How do you feel? How do you feel? And all I saw and knew, it wasn't feeling anymore. It was a knowing that I was like that dolomite. No wonder I've been carrying it around. It just was so forceful. It's white. And then I realized, oh yeah, that video talking about the white and how the white is alive and how pure I am and all this stuff. And I just went, and I was just this white column. And I'm still quivering thinking about it. And then I changed because I told you I'd been purple and gold for some reason. Those were the colors, and the gold was the writing, and the purple was this. Hey, yeah, I got something to tell you. Hey, go get me some. I'd like a tomato, actually. You need to go still get a tomato. It's good for you. Ooh, chill. Chill, chill. No, we go up. So, I sat on the chair and there was gold light. And no, white. It was white. I was running white. We're going to go higher, not lower. White light. And the white light was like a pure something. It felt physical, but it was made of light, and it felt really, really good, and it was shooting. So much shooting of just linears. It felt really good, and I could breathe, and I felt my body going whoop, and I felt so much better. And I thought, oh, if I open my eyes, I bet I'd be glowing. It'd be so pretty. And then everything kind of turned into this crickly, crackly flame of white with gold, with purple, and with the gold tips. I thought, oh, that makes sense. Because the way that was conferred, I went up there and I just knew I had to go stand right there, right then. I just boom. And my body just went boop. And I turned into that same thing. And they said, this is the body habitus. Well, whatever that is. All right, thanks. But I kind of hung out with it because it felt really good. And the trees, and wondered why I was standing, yards from huge generators. Aren't I going to get breast cancer from this? And then there's going to be some dumbass cop who's going to come and bitch at me for doing what moved my heart, and blah, 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 blah. And I'd always go in one straight line home. And I never liked that way home, but I always did it because that's how you should go. And then, but then I started to break. I broke my rule when a voice came in and said, "Hey," I was in the Sonic drive-thru. I've talked about this. "Hey, get up on that mountain. There's someone waiting for you. It's a dude. He's looking over the thing, and you need to be there. Now go." It's like, oh, okay, well, I got nothing better to do. And that happened, and it was pretty cool. And it was good. He felt better, and that was nice. And so that was nice. But see, what I didn't tell anyone is that, well, I may have, but I don't think so. I went up there, and I understood that I was supposed to meet someone there. Okay, I got that. And as soon as I got on the mountain, my tire went fop, 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 fop. So I went to a rest stop, the first rest stop, up the mountain, and then I had to get out of the car, and I had a dress on, purposefully a dress. And this fellow who looked a lot like her ex-husband was there with a big camera. And so we just explaining the mechanics here, not the meaning, okay? So he sees her, she knows it, he knows it, and he does not lend assist. She gets in the car and says, "Oh, jeez, men, what has happened to them? What has happened to them?" And she kind of grieves, and she goes up to her, I'm shaking, her spot. And she parked a car, and she was assured, "Oh, no, I'll see it. Now go up there." And we moved her with the grace of God, we'd say. There was a good meditation. And it was something that she knew she had to do, and that he would be, that it wasn't time. For some reason, it wasn't time. And so she had this meditation of profound love and profound healing of self and just the whole ball of wax. She got in the car and she decided to drive the other way home. First time. She did, and she encountered, of course, the larger of the rest stops. And she parked her car, and the sky had caught her eye because there was a vortex in the sky. It was large. She has pictures, and so does he. And it spun, and she got out of the car and started laughing because she knew she'd done it. She was happy, not proud and not embarrassed and not shamed and not shocked. Happy, joyful, at one. Seeing herself and knowing herself and approving of herself. loving herself. And it became to look like an eye, and this was to symbolize we had shown her. It is not necessary we believe that Sam was the original activator of the series, because he was the one who gave her the meditation of what love is in its purest form. And this is when she saw an eye in her living room. But then she had a dream. In the dream, she was in a spaceship. No, well, she had seen that many times. But in the dream, this is true, in the dream, the mirrors, she had a wall of mirrors. And she did not like to sleep so that she could see them. But she woke up and she looked down at the mirrors, which she never got out of that side of the bed, and there was a huge eye right there. And then it turned into the spaceship thingy do. And then they said, well, maybe it wasn't just a dream. Or was it that effect? And this has been activating. The eye concept has been very important. Looking at the sun in the eclipse and imagining that there's a blink going on and there's a reset going on and the new person is being seen when the eye comes up and things like that. Very, very powerful, very pretty, very helpful to just acknowledge a very beautiful reality. Is it God? Is it, I don't know, you tell me. However, we would suggest that the purpose of this has been to embody, obviously, and she saw this eye and she understood, oh, that's me, ha ha ha, and she was laughing and giggling, and then she looked and she saw this fellow with a big camera, and they began talking, and she praised him for things that he had done in his life and how beautiful he was and how nice he was without any kind of exchange of sexual energy, and a declination of a date, really for no other reason that it just wasn't appropriate. And yet it was good. It was good. It was a good meeting. Why do we mention such a thing? Well, it would suggest that this boast of I am an energetic master is not at all a boast. It is a truth. We would like very much to bring you through her reading and sidebar interpretation simultaneously of Rupert Sheldrake 6.6, a very important passage of that book regarding morphic resonance fields in atomic theory. It was a flash, okay? She thought, okay, well, that's just an accident, so I'm going to look at the other parts of the book. Nope. There it is. Bing! So, just as we are not going to explain the mechanics of all of this, because that is something that is between you and your God, you and your timing, you and your lesson, and you and your reality, and it is not our business, and we simply don't care. If you wish to attain, then you need to do it with all of your heart, your mind, your body, and your spirit. It is a fourfold event of will and love, which are the same thing, dear. So, take it or leave it, right? So there was an admonition, not a warning, an admonition, because we do not want the heart to close off because of fear. It's just litter. It's not dangerous. It's just litter. There is nothing to fear. There are resource issues, and we have tried to explain again and again that there are certain things that once they have been understood, then things become easier. It's very difficult to get through to this part, and so we would suggest that it is quite important to understand that there is such a thing as personality integration and the theory of relativity, the theory of validity, okay? It is based on, obviously, some quantum mechanics, and it must be languaged in such a way that it is accessible, as she has said. And so this is why you will see a fluidity, not only of information, but of outcome. The expectation in her mind today was she was going to write, and she really wanted to write. Oh God, it brings her peace, you see. It brings her personality selves together, and everyone is having a party, and everyone is communicating, and there is free flow, and there's no self, and there's all self, and it is very good for her. It's soothing and healing, far more healing than any human relationship. And that is the truth. However, there are gradations of love, there are vibrations of love, and there are patterns with love. And so, this is the idea. The energetics comes from geometrics, which comes from mathematics, which comes from the face of God. If you want to know what God looks like, you look into esoteric mathematics, and you are nowhere near. The nearest you have at this point is energetics, which is a combination of harmonics, geometrics, sound, wave theory, and some things that she does not have access to. And these somehow gel, and they merge, and they blend in a female form who took a shower in a spa the other day and wept, keened, and bled into a shower, I tell you. What is cosmic consciousness but communion with something larger than yourself, dear one? What do you think, it's just on paper? She was Kali. She embodied that in many ways. Few saw how fierce she was. She knew what she contained. She knew she was one of the destroyers. It's been written about in Dolores Cannon's book. Anyone who carries much power certainly has the ability to create, as a writer would, and the ability to destroy. And there is now literary documentation of entities who present as human beings and who have carried along this very, very deep sadness and sourness in their mouth that turns to ash sometimes, unexpectedly, sometimes in the middle of a party, understanding in a flash. How many times before parties have occurred and been snuffed out? This is the legacy of the fifth son, and such dizziness, such weakness in the body. This is the return of the ancients. Do you think the word master is to imply some sort of slave? Well, that's just, this is why it should be stricken. As should ascension. As should worship. Have we not said this is about skin? It's about natural bent. And it's about time, we would say. We passed the eye of the needle, so to speak, and had a grand moment of happiness. And we celebrate 12/12 of 12, or 12/21 of 12, depending on which way you spin, we would say. And to imply, certainly, a change in energetic orientation. What is 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1? Well, look at the numbers today. So this white energy is simply energy, and the physical vehicle had certain upgrades which were necessary for this one, who just intuitively knew what to do so that the word could be spread more quickly, and this is to not so much change people's will, but to be a messenger, we say. Has she not talked about John? Has she not come in like a hurricane and say the Kali Yuga is dead? It was a messenger, that's all. And so was there a warning? Well, not so much, because she figured out that if you have been watching this, then you given consent. So la la la, it's on you. But it's a hello, and it's a loud one, and it went on and on and on. And during that time, she transformed. So we want to talk a little bit about the video that she saw and give some information to her, because this is another little gift. And you see the change in the voice and la la la. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So, okay, here it goes. Oh, joy, so bright. All right, so the sisters, that is, yes, it's sort of a vehicle in a way. Not really a vehicle, because it's not. You can't just pluck the thing out of the rock. I mean, out of the mountain and say, "Whee, let's go." No, but it she kept seeing the three, the geometric of the three, the stars, the sisters, and she. However, yeah, we would suggest that you have completed the Merkaba. You see, so sping, bye bye. And so that's a nice thing to have in your pocket. But then we decided to show her something, and while she was watching that video, we sort of hypnotized her with how yummy she feels up at the lead. And it was quite intoxicating, we can tell you. It feels really good. And so she was sitting there going, oh, oh. And we said, okay, you can feel it, right? But you're not there, are you? I mean, sitting physically, where are you? Okay, so we would suggest that you can just bring that feeling from there, from your imagination. We would suggest it's a valid feeling, and it is a valid experience, and you can experience right now if you want. I mean, it's up to you. If you want to play with the time and say, oh, I got to go in the car, and I got to go spend all this money to buy the gas, and then I would be all sad because no one's with me, because no one loves me, blah blah blah. How about if you just pull it in and spin? Ding dong. So that's kind of what she did. It is then that she was feeling better. And then she's saying, well, I should tell all the people all the things that I know, because they're pretty sparkly. And I want them to know because I love them so much. And it'll make them feel so much better. And just like we were talking about the lid on the ball of wax, no, on the jar of whatever, the jar of life, on a son or daughter, you don't want to go, okay, here's what's gonna happen. No, you don't. You go. Alright, now just make sure your arms are long enough to get up there and screw it. Now just make sure they're really strong and you're nimble and you can figure things out pretty good. Alright, now when it's time, you're gonna go boop boop boop, and that jar is gonna go boop, and the mason jar thing's gonna go boop, and then one by one they will go boop, and you can do whatever you want with them. Enjoy. Understand I love you so much that I trust you to manage your reality. And no matter what you do, you can be sitting in a jail cell for having offed a man in a fit of rage. I will come and I will love you because I see you. I know you. I love you. Thank you. That's pretty much it. Pretty good philosophy, we say. So, not such a bad way to roll, after all is said and done. So, all of these constructs and all of these losses and blah 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 blah, yes, they hurt, sure. So we show her. She had this is now we can say. It's good. There, we need to see the Kryon thing, the thing we were trying to get across, because we go la 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 and then we get lost, is we will start the day. We didn't do it today, but she's always reminded of who she is now. Now she has a way to remind herself. She was always forgetting, and it took half a day to remember who she was, and it was just awful. And she'd lose her way with time. And then she would make promises, and then things would happen, and then the promises no longer seemed to apply, and that got her in so much trouble. And on and on and on. It just was awful. And this was what we were trying to say with the flower and the flower, the reflectivity, is that if you are coming from the heart directly, there is no distortion. There is no what? Class? Resistance. You are in alignment, acceptance, allowance, permission, flow, love. Correct? But up here, everything was not, she was wired up, shall we say, for her. This, we are only speaking for her. And she had a weird life, so this is why we're saying it. And then there was this flower that was reflecting everything up and out. This is why she saw this splintery thing. But she still understood it was her. And once she understood that, then the idea of the mental illness and all that began to drop away, because she understood this is a reflectivity thing. And we saw it repeated, there's no more reflectivity. That means what we did was we moved the heart over, and it was silver, but then we blended the gold and moved it, because then it became one of the things that we were talking about at the very beginning about neurological changes. We mentioned Sulsai, but we also mentioned hemisphere, and this was purposeful, but it was doubted. See, the weaving of the flower of life, which is not a reflection of this. This resides here, and in every atom of DNA. So, imagine what doubt, imagine what fear, imagine what anger, what these devices, not emotions, devices do to the blood, to the heart, to the mind, to the mind, to the mind. And to one so sensitive who will take it in and believe it's hers. With every molecule of her being, she's convinced that if she takes it in, she can transmute it. But the thing is that there are some things you're not supposed to transmute. And so she learned. So this is one who has been wide open. Someone who can spin a vortex in the sky. And this is a story that she was on the side of the mountain, and this eye was spinning, and she said, "Oh, holy crap, there's somebody here. And I can feel myself spinning. Oh shit, he's gonna see something. I don't know what happens to me. Well, I don't know. I don't want anybody else to see what's happening to me." But whee, she laughed and laughed. And then she knew she had to break away, or it would be gone. She'd be. And whether that's true or not, that she was having these thoughts is remarkable, and that they were witnessed, and that the person was indeed, his life got better after contacting, only he knows why. We don't. He would not speak to her anymore. I think because he understood that she's someone who is so wide open that when she gives up, like that, she thinks that she's going to get it back. That always is a problem. So she had to learn. That's not always so. Not really. There are agreements, and there is coding, and there is stuff like that, and that is really good. And so she had this thing. She went to Norma, and they were having a meditation, and Archangel Michael was there. And she saw this flame. It was like 3 poems, or poems. And then this overweight, unhappy woman in scrubs was just walking into it. It was like, she's gonna die in about 9 months. She looks miserable. And it was me, but it was her. And so I just, it's not easy when you can see all of this, and this is the straddling, and this is the healing, and this is the work. So am I Kathy Vikin, am I Magatha, and am I Grandma, and am I Mama, and am I the Clarion Call, am I a whale, am I this, am I that? Well, we ask you at a certain point, does it really matter? Haven't we been asking that again and again? What would you like to call us, huh? She would call us, oh, I love it when the presence comes. Well, so do we. But it's fun to express in other ways. It's fun to experience, to discover, to put together, to synthesize, to create. What kind of benevolence would take that away from a creator? We ask you. Really? Isn't that cracking a koan, my dear? So, if this is theater, well then so be it. It's pretty good, isn't it? And if this is otherworldly and makes your skin crawl, well then you should shut it off, but probably about, 40 minutes ago. If you want to watch it, you're still watching it. And we would submit that sometimes it's good to watch this kind of thing, just like you're reading sci-fi. Just say it's sci-fi. There is no danger, but there is a remaining need for support. And the idea that these essays are there for everyone. They have never, ever, 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 ever asked, well, there was I think 1 or 2 pleas for help when the boat was sinking, but she received it and she is very grateful. That's not the point. It's not to beg. It's not to beg. It's to have this work seen, and it's clear that it is and it will be. And it has merit, but it's not for everyone, and especially the videos are quite activating, as we have said, and that is purposeful because there is a lot to learn very quickly, and there is a lot to enjoy about being home. And this is what we say about this work. It's just being home and having someone just sing songs from home. This is what she found so soothing with the Enrique Boron, because he would sing songs from home. Songs that made sense, songs that had symmetry, songs that had depth and honor and free will and trust. That this body was so beautifully wired, so quantumly set up, and so magnificently expressing as something far larger than tissue-based commands to eat and sleep and do all those fun things. This one can act any way she wants, do anything she wants. Why not? Why not? Can't you? Who says? Who says, we ask? Huh? Huh? And why? We're just asking. This is not to incite rebellion or to, create anarchy. This is about going within and seeking out your own sovereignty. And so we end, as we begin, this was a very special graduation and a coming together. It started out very personal, and much will not be shared, just because it doesn't have to be. We said that in the camera, and she heard it. This is underlined, personal. So there's just some stuff that, who cares if it gets proven? Who gives a crap if it gets proven? It doesn't matter. We know. And at a certain point, it doesn't matter anyway. Look at the proportion and then realize the importance and move on. There's more work to be done. So yes, transcription, yes, lots of things. And from this perspective, the money issue is just like, who cares? You'll figure it out, Gertie. But we do understand, of course, that is not the case. And Mama takes care of mamas. And this is a good thing. That there's always benevolence. And of course, the mind of the Creator is a benevolent one. There's no other reason than expression. But if there's no expression through benevolence and kindness and gentleness and all those rays, well, then what's the point? Then we just sort of scrap it. So this idea that she was a destroyer, yeah, well, sure, I suppose. And some of it is walking around in fear of your power, to be honest. Much paralysis is due to that. And that created about 30 years of paralysis in this one. So, that's fine. That was not time. It would never have been time. And the idea here is that she kept much of her karmic ties very, very loose. And had very few. So, although it killed her to lose her attachments, they were not as bad as losing some others. And so, no other way to walk every day except in love of self and an expression of benevolence. There's nothing else to do, and that's a good thing to know. To understand you are an expression of benevolence. Let's scrap divinity. I think that is take out in a mud, a slog in the mud. Divinity, blah. Well, doesn't divinity imply murder? Yeah, kinda. So let's scrap that one too. Let's just talk about things you like to do. Do you like to spin clouds? Do you like to have them talk to you? Do you like to sit in kirtan and look up at the little gold Merkaba and get it to spin all by itself and wink at you? Huh? Do you like doing that kind of stuff? Well, okay then. You're probably a master of genetics or whatever. Who knows? Genetics. Well, you know, that's all geometry, yeah. That's high science, math. That's the synthesis, the culmination. And there's no finer, no more noble and sacred of the professions than embryology, the study of creation in form. So, you're on the right track, cutie pie. We want to end with the Rupert, but we've got to come down a little bit because our eyes kind of burn out. We would say in passing she needs to have some information, and we go scale still a little bit. We have explained that the anxiety she feels is doubt, and it's just it's the juicy kind of it's not true, and this is a holdover. It's just something that's going to pass. It's okay. And this is why we caution that most people will turn it off, and those who don't, some are going to understand it's true, and some are going to have such a violent reaction physically they won't be able to watch it. And we would suggest that this one is so very, very sensitive to harming another because she has this particular trait which has been very difficult and quite an overlay to overcome. So, is it true? Well, it doesn't matter if it's true for them. It matters if it's true for us. And thus far, this makes the most sense of any theory. It has the most coherence. It has the most meaning, significance, synchronicity, context. It's personal. It is intimately personal, unlanguageably personal, and yet expresses as fractals in reality with such astounding frequency at this point that it is quite a ride. And the way that this is stepped down is just to step down. So to close, we talk about alcohol and mama ganja. Alcohol is a way to be placed into the lower agreement fields. Notice that there is a depressive effect to the body habitus for approximately 2 to 3 days. Mimicking what? And there's an option always given. Would you like to rise from this, or would you like to remain? And the depressive effect is, the koan is that it is relieved with the intoxicant, which is of course a metaphor for the lower agreement fields. And so that's what it does, and that's why people lose their countenance and bicker and become small and become awful. And then they have to rise from the ashes, truly, of self-destruction. And this we would imply and have explained to her in high meditation, that it closely is for those of the Judeo-Christian awareness, which is, we would say, planetary, unless you're deep in the East. It's a way to create a crucifixion, a resurrection, and a transfiguration for the psyche. And you do that enough times, you get clean or sober enough times. It's funny how people like that are kind of enlightened. Interesting. Funny how they become less sacrificial, but more generous. Funny. If the medicine took, and often we say that the medicine becomes so addictive that, okay, it feels good to die and be reborn, and die and be reborn, and die and be reborn. And it's good to just be in reborn phase, that feels good too. And then to slide and be a dry drunk, and then come back, and then finally you move to a different place. The only argument we have with the faith of that is the first tenet, which is that you are not to trust yourself. That you don't have power. And that we think is an energetic insult that is so grotesque that when needed, she could not stay within the church. That is that. So, no. I will not abdicate my power. I will not abdicate my way. No. You may not take that from me. I come in here stripped naked of my dignity, my worth, my understanding of myself, my physical health, and you tell me I have to abdicate my power. But I need your help, so I'll sit here and listen. But it was, it's grotesque. And that means to this a grave misunderstanding. Grave misunderstanding. Much like looking at your body and saying, oh, P.U. Oh, P.U. That does not suit me. Well, really? So, it's like that. So, we have gone very high, and the reason now it's what we are wondering what time it is, because we must pick up the Sam, and again, no clothing has been put away, and blah blah. So, we have to start this early by, or end it. And she would prefer to spin, she would prefer to be here, and we are suggesting that now that there has been this white thingy-doo, and the fluffy flames, it feels so happy. Can such a pretty flame, with pretty gold and purple, can that flame really be afraid of anything, you think? Can the flame just stop worrying so much, you think? Can the flame just sort of relax a little bit, you think? Well, we would suggest it be good. That's a good idea. And we don't even want to get into the physics of not allowing a flame to flow. We just don't even want to go there. Who needs it? So is she an energetic master? Well, I don't know. Listen to her. Read and see what she's done. Understand where she's been, and then see if she's being a big ego-filled poopy head. Or perhaps she's somebody who might be able to help you a little bit with a couple of your thoughts. I don't know. Gee, I think it's up to you. The reason that we did the video rather than the writing The writing for her is a great refuge and solace. And so she had to feel safe, because what we did was crack everything open. The whole thing of this life identity and how things work and how things work needed to be explored. And that was a very profound and open discussion, which was appropriate to remain personal. And then the sirens went off, and the energy was run, and blah, was all so pretty. And just a sense of I am, that I am, that I am. Isn't that nice? Huh. And then she had heard, oh, the time of coffee drinking is almost over, and we like doing this. Oh, it's true, we have been quite selfish with that time. We do believe with this final one, we have enough to do the transcription in spare time. But she's going to get a couple of jobs, and it's going to be really good for her, because she's going to get a lot of practice. And she needs just practice. She needs to feel more comfortable in social situations that do not demand things from her that she's not willing to give to just anyone. And so it's good for her to have clear boundaries about behavior and what's expected. And so that would be nice. She needs that. But she needs freedom of expression, and she will have that, of course. And the money will come in right away. It will be shocking, be so great, and that's just the beginning. She's already had a major healing on the physical, which is beyond anything that she could have prayed for. And we have said very specifically, we worded it, beyond the beyond, I think was the idea behind the gifts. And the fantasy come true, that was the beginning. You like patterns? Huh? And then in the car, okay, patterns of unexpected benevolence, not unexpected stuff that you got to figure out a way to cope with it. Unexpected benevolence. Expect unexpected benevolence. Dear ones all, there has been a major healing that has taken place. It's been graded. You can look at the videographed evidence and see how it was done. Ignore the affect. We are looking forward to transcriptions so that the affect can go away. But is it not cute to look at the aping and the giggling and the fun, the joy? What's so wrong with that? We submit that you can be a highly advanced individual. You can call us a spiritual entity, but dear one, isn't it fairly obvious you are too? Pinch, pinch, ow! Cut, bleed! Come on now. The evidence is sitting in front of you, wondering if the coffee is still hot. So it's up to you. Take it or leave it. We don't know how long this went. We would admit it is probably longer, and now you will see a pattern if you're wise and you're paying attention and you're actually listening. The longer we go, the more esoteric we go. This is to weed out people who are not interested or do not have a practice that is in depth, because we are giving increasingly complicated, but we are suggesting in the end it would be astoundingly simple concepts. And so this is a calibration of synthesis, because she is a human being who has a life story. However, she is also a writer who is not willing to act a fool. And with the name author behind her, she doesn't have to be a fool. She's supposed to be smart. She's supposed to be well read. She's supposed to be on purpose at all times, with a traveling gift that she can just give to anybody. But it's not a bother. It doesn't hurt her. She loves it. And so this gift, we would say, is also one that perhaps is unknown, the value, and that's okay. It's understood, but it's unexpressed. It's known, but unexpressed and therefore unknown. How's that? Ooh, that's pretty. Alright, so please, I understand there's some who don't like the length of the video. Well, we would suggest just go ahead and pause it and come back to it. It's going to be a lot like Seth, to be honest with you. And it's sort of the point. So we'll close with this. Imagine a video library that you could just say, hey, dude, I have this thing going on with waking up. I don't know what the hell's going on in my life. And I know sometimes you just really got your ass kicked. And then you start having sparkly. So you've been doing all this stuff with aliens and shit. And it just sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know. Here, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna listen to this one and do this. Boop. If it doesn't feel good, then you go to the next one. Boop. If that doesn't feel good, you go to the next one. Boop. If that doesn't, you walk away. We suggested it took 3 for her to find the right information. And this is why we need to divide it into tracks, and it'll be much easier to do that when it's in the written page. She needs a printer. A big old printer. Because this is an amazing amount of words. Alright, so we have given actually a number of channels within this one, and that is why we say it's really necessary to listen to the whole thing at one time. It's obviously necessary for her to give it at one time. And she became very well aware as the energy began to increase, as the honesty began to ferment. It would have taken too long to write. It can't be written, it has to be done this way. It's just too fast. She didn't know the timing to see about the word count, and it's just too fast. What she's getting is important to document. It is not grandstanding, and it's not saying, hey, look at me. It's a matter of her. When you hear that out of her, what is happening is she's putting together the significance of her task. That's it. Or what she considers significant. I mean, how many people think it's going to be significant to go meet some nerd who drops ayahuasca with some cool dudes? I mean, that's pretty much the task at hand. They've gone into psychedelics now, very appropriately. That is how you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper once your personality structure is stable. That's how it's done. So, this is a multifaceted study in many things, and we suggested everyone is capable of doing such things, but how many people have an interest? So she loves it so much she wants to share it. Isn't that sweet? You don't have to watch. She's saying it, and she knows its power. So, she's just wanting to give it away. She said it's not right to hold anything like this ransom. It's wrong to do that, and you get kicked in the ass for doing it. It's very childish to do that. It shows you don't understand what you've got in your hands, nor your power, nor your dignity. That's all. You can keep doing it, but it's time to wake up. Especially those who are, in the enlightened business sector. We see this a lot. Cloaked greed, cloaked ego need. So to close about the ego, you do not have a rabid tiger circling your psyche about to kill you. You do not have some dark passenger who only wants to hurt other people. That's nonsense. Why don't you just put the word devil around its neck? It's just a monster. The personality structure is not as fragile as that. Considering that you are made from creativity, at least you can at least give whatever God you have in your books the attribute of being creative and maybe not being all that mean. So let's start there. Okay, so I'm made in that person's image. What does that mean about me? Just start there. Or start with just sitting in the car, as we've said, or in the toilet. You had a busy day at work. Everyone is just tearing you up. and your own mistakes are catching up with you, and you just feel crappy. And you go in, and you say, please, if there's anybody out there who's seeing my distress, make it easier for me, please. Let me breathe easier. Please help me, please help me. It's okay to say that. There's no rules. But it tells us that you're feeling very little, like a little child, and feeling beaten up and scared. Please help me, please help me. And that's not what a sovereign is, but it's what a little girl is, it's what a little boy is. It's okay with that. So we come to you as Mama. Hopefully you don't hear scolding. Hopefully your voice is clear enough that you hear a lullaby and you feel a hug and you understand that you haven't done anything wrong. Not really. Maybe some of it was even by agreement. And maybe today it's going to be possible to lay down at the end of the day, and no matter what happened, you're going to be in your body, and its heart is going to be beating, and the sky is going to be black, and the stars are going to be white, and the crickets are going to chirp, no matter who is yelling at you, no matter what has been done. You can go home anytime. You can go home by reading a poem, by making art, by making love, even by making war, we suppose, although there are much easier ways to attain enlightenment and a sense of happiness than to struggle against it and demand that it not be as it is, which is benevolent and undemanding. That is really all we want to say. We wanted to give balm, we wanted to synthesize, we wanted to assist, and we wanted to explain the inconsistencies you see in affect, behavior, promises, all those things. We say forbearance is nice because we can tell you that there'll be some of you having similar issues. And it's helpful if someone's gone before. So you can say, oh, God, okay, when she was going through this, she did this, and she wasn't one to lie. So perhaps I should maybe take a clue. Maybe that would be good. Maybe I should listen to her about the water video or the blah blah video. Just kind of listen and know that she's telling a story about herself. And some of them are really, really, really messed up and weird. And some of them are really, really cool. And some of them just steal me. And some of them make me so angry. It's interesting. And so it begins. Every one of you is coded for awakening. Not perhaps as heavily as this one, but when you are done, then you can say, it's fine. We say this, what she's done is nothing unusual. It's been done before, it's going to be done again. And it's not required. But its presence is understood, celebrated, and allowed now. And so it is. Oh wow.